Advanced filters provides you ways to create and reuse later filters. So for example, if you wanna create a filter that always highlight operations 20, for example, then you can create this filter to be reused later on. In order to access advanced filters functionalities, you need to right-click the toolbar and enable here the advanced filters. So if you disable, you see that those buttons goes away, and if you re-enable them, you see that those 4 options, they are now available. And this is the only way to access advanced filters within the sequencer. So this first button here is highlight mode. I'm going to be explaining later in this video. Highlight enablement, it's going to activate or deactivate the highlighting using the advanced filters. All filters available, and a button to create new filters. So looking at this list of available filters, if you watched my highlighting video, you notice that those options, they are also available there. So late operations, early operations, delayed, bottleneck, actual, within deliver buffer, locked operations, so on. So if you click here, you see that all of those options, they are also available there from here to here. And here we have 2 new options called orders with shortages or operations with shortages. And I'm going to be using this later in this video as well. So for example, if you want to highlight all delayed operations, so you select this, but if you want to apply the highlight, you need to enable the highlight enablement option. So now you are looking at all operations that are delayed. So delayed operations, and there are also late, for example. Then you can select here both of them, and now you're only seeing delayed operations that are late. And you can keep adding to this filter, and when you do so, it's an and condition. So in order for operations to be highlighted, it needs to be, in this case, a delayed operation and a late operation. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, so to create new filter expressions, you need to click on this button, and you can add a new expression or add a composite of expressions. So if you add in a new expression, you see it's a pretty simple form. So for example, operation number 20. In this field here, you're gonna get all fields available in the editor. So of course, operation number, it's one of them. In here, because it's a numerical field, you see all of those values. Then you can click on equal in this case and set 20. So you have equal, different, less than, less equal, greater than, greater, or and equal, for example. Okay, so let's add another one, add expression. Let's say orders starting with TR. So if you select a string field, such as the order number, there is one additional option, which is the contains here, and they can put the TR, for example. Okay, so we created 2 different filters expressions. And now, if I click here, you see that those options, they are available now at the bottom of the combo box. So selecting operation 20, highlighting, now you're only seeing operation 20. Select operation 20 plus is order starting with TR. Highlighting, there is no one, which is weird. Yeah, there is no one, so it's not going to be highlighted in this case. But if I select only order starting with TR, oh, so there's something wrong with this filter. Sorry, I selected the wrong field, that's why. So let's fix that. Okay, there we go. So all orders with TR, so I know that all TR orders are scheduled from this resource onwards, and from profiling to isolation are orders starting with SF, for example. Okay, so now if I select both of them and highlight enablement, then I'm getting all operations that starts with TR and are operations 20. Okay, right, so now if you select each one of those, you can edit or delete. if you edit it, you can change like I did before. Just pay attention, there is this advanced mode where you can create formulas, but we're not going to be discussing this because it requires specific knowledge regarding evaluation expression syntax that are dedicated for Opcenter APS, and we're going to be covering that in a different video, okay? If you add a composite, now you can pretty much add filters together. So for example, I want all operation number 20 or operation that starts with TR. So that is a composite. And there is an edit button, so you can edit the composite, the expression from within this screen. You can create a new filter expression from within this screen as well. And of course, you can remove what you included. This red circle indicated to you that you are missing information. You cannot have a composite with just a single filter, for example. Okay, so when you create, oh, I need a name, so op20 or TRs. All right. Let's wait a little bit. That is a bug in Opcenter APS that the system hangs for a couple or some seconds depending on what you put here in the name, so in the composite name. All right, so moving forwards here, if you select now this composite, it's an OR condition, right? That is the only way you can apply OR condition. So you see that all operations from TR plus operation 20 from any orders are being highlighted, okay? And of course, you can now say that plus late operations, for example, like this. So you see that all of those are late. Okay, coming back here to manage filter to the composite. So let me edit this one. Let me edit a composite. Yeah, you can add further composites as well. So for example, I can add a new one, and it's going to be an AND condition now. For example, of course, you could change it to an OR condition, but let's say all delayed operations that are late. So what you're doing is the parent here is still an OR condition, so it needs to be this or this or this. If any of those three conditions are satisfied, then the operation will be highlighted. But this condition here requires an AND condition. So here it's going to be, it needs to be either delayed or late, and late, in order to satisfy this condition. So you see that you can have a pretty complex relationship in the composite, okay? But the beauty is you only create that once. After that, you just need to reuse it as you need to use it. So now, of course, it would be good to give it or delayed and late, for example. Okay, so here, highlighting. So those here, if you remember, they are delayed and late. They are also operation 20s, and they are also operations from TRs. All right, so you see pretty complex relationship can be created, right? Another important information for you is the fact that every data table, you can create filters for them. So for example, if you want in the resource table here to create a filter, you are not able to create a composite, but you can create filters. So for example, here you can say that where display order greater than, let's say, 50. Display greater than 50. You just created a filter that you can select here now. So you see, even though it's very similar, you cannot add a composite, and you don't have the highlighted enablement and the highlighting mode as well. So once you select, it is automatically applied, and once you remove, it is automatically disapplied. If you add filters to associated tables, and for example, bill of materials and co-products. They are associated tables to the orders table. And I already created two. So for example, required quantity greater than or equal 5,000. And I've created another one called required material equal RM885, right? So of course you can select both of them here. So now you only see records where raw material 885 and required quantity is greater than 5,000. The reason I'm talking about this is because when you are creating a new filter here, so for example, add a composite. When you create here on the composite and you click on open, you see there's this option from existing filters, right? Or bill of materials and co-products, which are associated tables. So in the bill of material, I have here already the raw material 885 and the quantity greater than or 5,000. Okay, so let's do this. So for you to see how that works. 1,000 and raw material 885. All right. So select in here, and now you're seeing, so let me remove the relationship error, only operations that contains this condition is satisfied. All right. So this is pretty neat because now you can use it for filtering data using the bill of material as well. And that's valid for the Material Explorer. Okay, so let me remove this. There we go. So for example, filters, advanced filters, they also works in the Material Explorer. So for example, operation number 20, now you're only seeing operation number 20 here, okay? And let me try to do something here. Let me use this. Highlight enablement. Let me open the Material Explorer. Yeah, so you see that this order, it is satisfied this condition. So I have this order. We have raw material 885. So let's take a look here. It should be somewhere. Yeah, which is the first one. There you go, raw material 885. And the quantity here is greater than 5,000. But keep in mind that here you are filtering the whole order, not the operations within the order. So you see all orders here. And that's because you are using a filter from an associated table. But one great functionality that you can take advantage, it is the fact that you can highlight operations with shortages. So let me simulate some shortages here. Those two, okay, so I'm gonna unschedule everything. Run the PEG material. All right, it's finishing, okay. Coming back here to the Material Explorer, now you see that I have some shortages, right? So for example, yeah, that one, no, it's just one. I was wishing to see two shortages, but anyway. So double click this order, you see that I have a shortage because I simulate this shortage by reducing the quantity of some supply orders. And now, if you come here and say operations with shortages, then you are seeing only the operations that have material availability problem. So if you have a big bill of material, then this is a great way to only evaluate what it is going on, those operations with shortages. Keep in mind that this filtering only happens in the Material Explorer pane here. Material plots, issue search here, those are not impacted by the filter. All right. Okay, one last thing that I want to talk about. So let me reschedule. It is related to the ability to this highlight mode over here. So let me pick up this order. Let me to change this one to be, I don't know, 30. Yeah. Add an expression to filter this order number only. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I will highlight operation 30 and this order. So you see that only this operation got highlighted here. So let me show highlighted operation. And that's because this highlight mode is filter operation, but you can select all related, entire order. So all related include subsequent orders. So let me show that again. So you see that this order also got highlighted. Entire order, subsequent operation, so the immediate subsequent operation, all subsequent operations, previous operation, all previous operations, in this case it's just one, yeah. Bidirectional and all bidirectional. So essentially the same options where you have available in the right-click menu here, all right? And why that's great, so for example, you see that extrusion machine is a bottleneck, right? So you see that it has a high load. You can check utilization, the queued workload in order to evaluate if it's an actual bottleneck or not. So let me, I remove it. So let me create a filter to only filter extrusion 01. Okay. Let's wait a few seconds here for, all right, there you go. So we'll highlight extrusion, yeah, only filter operation. So you see that only extrusion is highlighted now. Let me remove this. But if you put here, for example, all previous operation, now you're highlighting all operations that are happening before the extrusion machine. So you have even those some of isolation operations here are being highlighted. So this is a bottleneck. Maybe you want to reduce the work in progress using the extrusion machine as a reference. So you can right click here, lock all operations from this extrusion machine. And if you unschedule, you're going to unschedule all previous operations from the extrusion machine. And now you can just run a backward schedule here, like this. And of course, now you are reducing the lead time to deliver. You're reducing the work in progress. Of course, be careful with backward schedule, because if you don't have capacity here between the terminator time and the due date, in this case between the terminator time and the start of the extrusion, that operation will be left unscheduled. So what you can do in this case, you can increase here the terminator time, run a new backward schedule. I did sequence backward. Yeah, like this. So you see that it's scheduling here in the past, and now you can bring the terminator time back to its original position and repair schedule, not allowing operations to be scheduled earlier, and you get a feasible schedule reducing the work in progress. You can be creative. Advanced filter, it is a very powerful tool to be added to your toolbox in order for you to evaluate what works the best for you to help you create a feasible and more optimal schedule. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you.